they say all men are created equal.
Shot! Master!
I'll pull out the Glock. Full of suffering, succotash, son.
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast with Lucy and Estelle, and we're both back this week, so that's great. We've got a band back together. So of course this week on Dynamite was the go home show before Double or Nothing, which is this weekend, and so we've got a review of Dynamite, we've got predictions for Double or Nothing, and we've got some news to get into as well. So a lot of stuff. So yeah, let's dive straight into it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for, holding it down last week. You did a great job. Obviously, listen back. And yeah, just thanks for that. I'm feeling better now,
Good.
but
Glad to hear
it
it.
was a rough time. And obviously, the ideal is us both doing it together, but I think we've both done one alone now, and I think we can, if it calls for it, do it alone. And we've built up our confidence. And also, thank you to everyone in the comments and who watched that and supported our solo videos, because it was a bit nerve-wracking to do, but because of like the response and wasn't as bad as what I thought it was, that worst case scenario we can cover for each other. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you, and just that going forward we'd rather put out something than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, no problem. I mean, yeah, like you said, it is nerve-wracking doing it on your own, like when you've not done it on your own before. But yeah, it's like just when you do it, you get it out of the way, and you're like, oh, that wasn't actually that bad. So yeah, it's better to do something than nothing when if both of us aren't available. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm proud of us. We've got the first one out the way. We've both done it on our own. So
Yeah. And also, like I say, we're gonna jump straight into the show, and then we're gonna do some news. We're gonna do some predictions. I just want to say as well that just disclaiming it before, that probably this weekend we won't be able to do a Double or Nothing review. I don't think.
mhm.
We'll see, but we're both away. It's bank holiday weekend in the UK where we are, so we'll be making the most of it. And
Yeah,
we've got plans, so we'll definitely be watching it 100% because the show's stacked. But it's
it
as to
is.
whether we can get round to watching it and then recording before, because Dynamite is Wednesday. So, but
Yeah, I guess it probably won't be a case of like a dedicated episode just to Double or Nothing. But
yeah.
certainly when we next record after it, we'll obviously like let you know
Oh
what we
yeah,
we
definitely
thought.
share our thoughts.
Hmm.
But just wanting to just let those of you out there know, because we usually are pretty thorough in covering the pay-per-views. Um, so yeah, I think that's housekeeping out of the way. Ready to dive
Yeah,
on into the show?
yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
Yeah, so the show opened with Orange, Cassidy, and Osprey teaming up together. Um, I enjoyed the entrance. The difference in energy was palpable. You could just tell how excited Osprey is to be there, and it is really lovely to see. Um, I'm just really enjoying him on the product, but I'm really enjoying his energy.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
Very excitable.
yeah. I mean, I know it's kind of cringe, but that thing of like restore the feeling is you kind of get that
Yeah, feel
sort of
good.
impression.
Yeah. And there was a lot of history in this match, and there was a lot of history in a lot of these matches in general, even if the match wasn't, the two people in the match aren't going to be facing each other at Double or Nothing. They had a lot of history in general. So in the case of this, we had, like I say, Orange and Osprey teaming up against Trent and Roderick. Roddy's got history with Orange. He won the belt from him, a belt that was highly prized by Cassidy, and Trent Beretta is best friend. So Cassidy was pretty heated during this match, which I found really fun, because I always enjoy when we get that heated, high intensity Cassidy. And like we always say, it's never for no reason. It's always in character, but it was highly enjoyable to get that version to him. And also Osprey being adjacent to the Don Callis family. It's like a nice way to transition him in, because it's not like we've got Takeshita who's coming out in a bloody devil mask, or I mean, I would say Hobbs, but is Hobbs injured? I'm pretty sure we haven't really seen him about lately.
Yeah, I think he might be.
But kind of like those, the more on the evil spectrum.
Yeah.
It was a nice sort of, if that's what they're doing, is going ahead with it. Like I say, all kind of tied in together. So I enjoyed that as well.
I'm usually not a fan of like it's I guess WWE probably do it a lot, and this might be why I don't like it usually when on a go home show you kind of merge two pay-per-view matches together in sort of like a random tag team match, and that's usually really shit.
Yeah.
But this was an anomaly to that because storyline wise it did make sense because of all the reasons you just said, and yeah, it definitely made it interesting. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Trent's best friend shirt again. It was modded out. He had the red one, like the kind of the street fight style best friends top, and it just had his character on and best on. Really enjoying these shit modded shirts. And like I said, with the intensity and with the history, Cassidy was straight on Trent. So clearly, I know you had a criticism of, was that the big blowout match, and you weren't, but I think that shows that they are going to keep progressing it on. So
Yeah, definitely.
it won't be as lackluster. Um, and then there was a really fun bit. Well, I ended up watching a stream where usually I watch the stream where there's a picture in picture, but this time I got the fight stream, so there's no ad breaks. So there's a really cool spot. I don't know if you caught it on the stream you were watching, where I liked how Roddy was trying to put Orange's, like, force his hands into the pocket of his jeans. And
Hmm.
then just as it came back from picture in picture, Orange did it himself, and it was like a fuck you. It was just a great, so simple but so enjoyable. Um, and then kind of wormed his way across for the tag because he couldn't like
Yes.
make the kip up. It was just silly Cassidy, inventive fun,
That's
I suppose.
yeah, that's him at his best. It's like that's what he does best.
Yeah. And as well, I just want to say all four guys are great wrestlers,
Yeah,
but they're also, when I was watching this, something that stood out for me is they're all very distinct characters, and they're layered, and they all have different motives and different. I don't. They're all just really. It just kind of hit me watching this, like
there's a
how
lot of
distinct
layers
they
to
all
him.
are. They're not just cookie cutter faces, cookie cutter heels. They've all
Yeah,
got their own thing, and I'm glad, because AEW for a while, that is a criticism of AEW, is just, I'm a good wrestler. And I
mm,
think there's a place for that, of I am a good wrestler, a la, FTR. Like,
yeah. Like you said, there's layers to all of them. And
yeah.
as actually I didn't think about this until you just said it, but Osprey typically being a singles wrestler is really impactful, really, like
Mm.
demands your attention and an amazing wrestler in singles. But he wasn't like domineering in this match sort of thing. It was like spread
No.
equally among them all. They all had their chance to shine and kind of progress their respective stories that they're in. So that was really good. I didn't think of that until you just mentioned that, like how all four of them are so different. And it came across really well because in this type of match you risk it being lost, but it wasn't.
Mm. No, it didn't become muddled. And yeah, shout out to Osprey, because he's really good at dialing it up, dialing it down,
Yeah,
singles. And before, like, I never really took him as that kind of versatile wrestler. I just thought,
exactly.
yeah,
I
he's the
knew that.
greatest wrestler and he deserves that moniker, but he should just be in 5-star hard hitting main event matchups. But he can do it all.
Mm,
Um, Even his promo skills, like, he's really brushed up on him. I
mm,
think, um, just exciting to see where he's going to go under AEW. He was
yeah,
definitely ready to come over to America, be it whether he went to WWE or AEW. I'm really glad he made the crossing, and obviously that was a bit of a sacrifice because he didn't really want to leave the UK, but I'm glad he has, because I think it would have limited him. And obviously, not every wrestler, it's all about the money and the fame, but as from a selfish fan perspective,
yeah,
I'm like, I'm happy to see that.
definitely.
Um, and found the line of Don Callis shouting out Cheeky Nando's a bit jarring as well. You know, like you were saying, like the British, like just random awkward references from like 10 years ago that the Americans are shoehorning in.
It's like when the crowd starts chanting "bruv." It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah. And I thought Osprey and OC worked amazing together as well, like as a tag team. Like I
yeah,
think
it
that's just
was
Orange
like
Cassidy in general. He can just work with anyone in a tag team. But if he is going to go to the Callis family, obviously it was a bit jarring at first. It was a bit like interesting, but like, oh, that's a bit weird. But you know, seeing him work with Osprey and like I say, that slow transition in it was just a nice change of gears. It wasn't, you know, from 0 to 5. We're slowly building it up. So
mm,
I appreciate that as well.
yeah, it's like the team you never knew you needed until you said it. Like you would never put them two together and think that it would work, but it did work. I loved it.
Full
I
on
loved their double
boys.
team moves with the high flying and then Orange just dropping like the most half-assed elbow drop you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. It was a great contrast. Um you just know in like circa WWE like mid 2010s, it would have been like a tag team. They would have been like pretty deadly or something. Because like the
Yeah.
blonde, I can see it like that's what they would have done with him. But yeah, pretty good match. And then we had the Wardlow cheap shot to Osprey because he kind of came up the ramp. Wardlow just came out of nowhere, pretty impactful, and that kind of threw Orange off. So then there was the end of heartache to him. So Undisputed Kingdom picked up the victory. So I thought it was a bit of a strange finish. I don't know if that was just me, because like of the lack of momentum of Undisputed Kingdom, and I thought we're committing to Orange and the Callis family. Callis was out for the comms as well. They had the 4-man, just temporarily for this match because I was a bit wary if that was going to carry on. As much as I enjoy all 4 of them, I was like, I don't need all 4 for the whole show, but they
Yeah.
didn't, thankfully. But yeah, I just felt like the Callis family had more momentum, so it felt like they should have got the win.
Mm, yeah, I
I don't
guess
know if you found it a bit
I
weird.
I wasn't sure because I kind of felt like it. I agree with you, but then I was like, it makes sense that Orange would take the pin rather than if they were going to lose, it makes sense for Orange
Yeah,
to take the pin because then he's going to be even more vulnerable for Don Callis to come swoop in.
yeah,
It was a bit of an anticlimactic finish with Wardlow coming out, like you say, with the cheap shot.
yeah. Just like the pacing and stuff, it just wasn't. And then while all this is going on, we had a submission hold on Orange Cassidy from Trent, and kind of be blacked out. So, like I said, just furthering on that feud. It all makes sense. I'm not mad at it. It just, I don't know, the pacing just felt like I say a bit weird. Like
Yeah, it was like it
it
was
was really amping up, like fast
mm,
third gear, and then Wardlow came out and just killed like. And I know that's the point of a run-in, but I don't know.
yeah, it just killed it
I
off.
was just like, oh, but this wasn't the weirdest finish of the night. Okay, there was weirder.
But Osprey was like bleeding out in the middle of the ring.
Oh
He
yeah,
got
yeah,
hit in the
yeah,
head
yeah.
with the belt. And then as you say, Orange was getting choked out or like no, not choked out, but in a submission hold on the outside. So you had both of these things going on at once. I was like, God, this is
Yeah, Roddy
a
smearing the
lot.
blood on his chest. It
Yeah.
was very overstimulating.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So that really.
Mm.
Next up we had the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas, and they were just talking about the bar in at Darby Allin after it came out last week. He is now the replacement for Eddie Kingston. You touched on that last week and your thoughts on it.
What do you
Um,
think about that? If you don't mind me veering off a little bit, just asking.
yeah, I mean, I just thought like Eddie Kingston, it just makes sense.
Mm.
It just makes sense, like, and clearly that's what they're going for. Is it's like you said when all those guys would fight for justice, and Darby is like an emo do-gooder. Like he really
Yeah.
is, isn't he? He's just a little nerd. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like maybe that's another reason why like I don't vibe with him. Is like he's got like, this spooky image, but like, and
He's
he's supposed to be
actually
like a
just a
lone
little
wolf,
nerd.
but then he's always like, "Oh, I'll come back, please." Like, "Oh, let me get medically cleared and help you out." Like I don't know, but yeah, it'll be fun. It's an anarchy in the arena match, and who's going to bring more anarchy than Darby Bloody Allen? And
Mhm.
he's very reliable. I'll give him that for the roster, and it'll be fun. It'll be a very fun addition. I'll do some crazy spots that'll make me cringe.
Mm.
But
Which is
it makes
yeah,
sense for his character. So
that's what he's there for, the
yeah,
crazy spots to make us cringe.
I'm not mad at it. I
Yeah,
think yeah,
sounds like
just,
we're on the same
but it's
page.
not mind blowing. Oh
Hmm.
my god, Darby Allen in an Anarchy in the Arena match. Who would have thought? But
Yeah,
um. So yeah, they're kind of putting out a bounty for him, and Sonjay comes out, and he put forward Satnam against Danielson, who is Darby's teammate, for the match on Sunday, and kind of had an under the table like
arrangement.
right, yeah, like kind of deal. Um, and this was kind of the thread throughout the whole show. It was pretty consistent. I loved the presentation of the wanted posters and the way that they were over
Yeah.
the like in the camera shot the whole night.
Yeah, they were on the hard cam, they were on the LED screens, weren't they? Like on the
I
barricade.
just liked it. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I just
I thought that too. I was like, because yeah, it just a constant reminder, isn't it, of it?
yeah. And then later on, the blood as well from a certain segment, which we will obviously get into, smeared all over, and they didn't clean it up. They cleared up the ring, but they didn't clear that blood up. And I don't know. I just like it when things are perfect and clean because it just feels more real
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
from just a presentation standpoint. And I'm always a nerd for the presentation standpoint. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the
Mhm.
GCSE media in me. I just
Oh my God.
just need to call out those little tricks. But yeah, then we got the Bang Bang Gang coming out, and they came out with the shittest, cheapest trolley. If that was at any UK festival, that would fall apart, my friends. Those wheels, they would not stand for the mud. And they've just got all the bounty in the trolley, all the belts, kind of on like a little belt collector run at the minute. Carried it down the ramp to the ring for maybe approximately 3 meters, then had to take it all out again, which I just love the obnoxiousness. Like when they used to ride those tricycles, like to me, they just do that camp heel thing so
Mm,
well.
yeah, it is. You're right. It is so camp.
And then we got a great little promo. Um, I'd like to see them have a custom design. If that's something we're
Yeah,
doing with a trio belt, I think you could do a really cool like cowboy bang bang guns switchblade design.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm not a belt collector, but that would be a pretty nice belt for a collection.
yeah, yeah. I mean, why? Yeah, why can't they have it if everyone else does?
Yeah. Um, Jay White loves a list. That was the second thing I wrote down. He loves those lists in promos. He's like pod one, and now you've noticed it. You're gonna notice it for every Jay White promo he does. He's like number one, number two, number three. Like he's so sassy with it.
Oh,
Um,
a man after my own heart. We love lists. Bleh, we love lists, don't we?
we love the lists. Yeah. We love organization. Uh, yeah. Love a man that keeps himself in check, has
Stay
goals.
organized.
Exactly. Um, Pac was not enjoying this list. He interrupted it. His pupils were massive.
I thought there was something
So were
weird
Copeland's
about
later on.
yeah, somewhat weird about like the camera angle, the way he was so close to the
Yeah.
camera, and like it was on wide lens or something, and like
Yeah,
all you could
like
see was like his
fisheye.
nose, and it was very strange.
Welcome to the AEW review where we just review camera angles and lighting and media production.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says that 3-on-1 isn't fair, so he's going to bring out his his brothers, and so then he came out for an entrance with the Lucha Bros, which just really great to see and really great presentation. When Death Triangle first came out, they were pretty lame, but I really like him.
It was a bit random. It felt a bit random, but now like you grow to love him, and then you're like,
And now I love it, especially since
yeah.
like the Lucha Bros aren't. I don't know. They're never going to be like the top of the division for feuds because of maybe the language barrier.
Mm,
And Alex Hernandez or whatever he's called, like he's not charismatic enough to really get him in those angles. And then
yeah,
Pac's only there for a couple of months a year, so why not bang them together? You know, like
yeah, yeah. I
why
agree.
not?
Yeah, and I love seeing them in in a title picture as well because they
Yeah.
deserve it.
If that's the only way they're going to do a title picture, because like I say, there's the tag titles is seems too crowded and Pac's not
Mm,
going to be around enough. Like, yeah, why not bang them together, trios titles? Let's go. So we had a little beatdown moment, and they chased off the Bang Bang Gang and challenged for the titles essentially. So
yeah, awesome. I mean, this card is already stacked enough, but adding that to it, I mean, it's probably going to be a great match.
yeah,
Because it usually is with Death Triangle and with the Bang Bang Gang as well, to be fair. But yeah, usually really high paced and high flying, which will be a nice. It's like just
hopefully it's on the main card. I hope they don't put it on
yeah,
the
I
pay per
know,
view because I'm sick of seeing them on the pay per view.
I know.
All
That was
six of
kind of
them.
the next thing I was gonna say. Like, yeah, I don't want them to demote them. That would be a shame.
Mm. Um. Yeah, pretty exciting times, like you say, for that. Can't wait. And next up, we got, like I was alluding to, a very weird finish. But again, I just want to shout out the janky production of. I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast before, but I love Tony Schiavone's "There's the signal," and then the music just starts, and it's just so badly done. But it makes me laugh every time. Like, there's the signal, and then it's just like the music starts. I can't explain it. It's just so disjointed. It's so poorly done.
The timing
Like,
is just
if
off.
it blacked out and then it came up and then it's like, there's the signal, and then the music comes in real loud, bam, and it comes out. That'd be badass. That'd be cool. But it's not. It's so shit, and it just makes me laugh every time. And I love Hook.
Yeah, because like you say, if it was like dark and you could actually really see it, and it's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
and then the
that's the
crowd has
thing.
time to react to it, but no one has time to react to it.
Yeah, it just appears, doesn't it? And then you have to, yeah.
And
I,
this came after, like I say, like it was like, let's have a freeway, um, let's have the titles on the line, and then it's like, there's the signal, and it's like, fucking hell, like, talk about overstimulated. I'm overstimulated. Um, so yeah, we had Jericho coming out with Big Bill. What do you think of that pairing? I don't think we talked about it.
but yeah, when did this happen? I feel like was this last? No, we didn't talk about it. It was the week before last, I think.
Or maybe it was on like Collision or something.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. What else is Big Bill gonna do? I mean, he was quite funny. These two were on comms. I mean, he has a chance to be funny and not boring. And
Yeah,
and it,
he's pretty good at. I think he's that type of person who needs to be with someone. Then when he's with someone, he'll actually surprise. Like when he was with Ricky Starks, he's fine as that little buffer. He plays that role quite well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, like I say, Jericho was on commentary. He was really great. I'm really enjoying his character, fully playing up the irony. He's been trolling on social media, TikTok, Instagram. It's it's great personally. But this match was already a bit weird because it was a freeway between Hook, Brian Keith, and Shibata,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
For some reason.
like I know Shibata and Hook have an affiliation.
Hmm.
Where does Brian Keith come into this?
I don't know.
Like, okay, we just needed someone to lose.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, we'll get to the finish, but yeah, like you say, we needed someone to lose.
Um, yeah, I don't really have much to say about the match. It was just a bit orcs. Like
Mm.
three ways are difficult. Four ways, like anything that's more than two people that isn't a tag is just, especially if it's people who aren't familiar or they have like a short time match.
Well,
It's
yeah, 'cause
difficult pacing wise.
it didn't have any build up. Like it was just a you wouldn't really typically have like a throw. I don't want to call it a throwaway match, but like a random triple threat.
But I just thought it was predictable. Like, oh, Hook's
Mm.
obviously going to win, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was a bit lame. But then considering the finish, I was like, I would have taken predictability. So yeah, essentially there was a double submission, and Shibata and Hook both were in position at either end. Brian Keith taps out, and they're declared both as the winners. Crowd is confused as fuck,
Yeah,
which is always your first sign that you fucked. If the live crowd have a reaction like that, they're like, let them fight. Um, so, but that was the end of the segment. Jericho was like, yeah, let him fight, and then he was like, I'm gonna be champion forever. See you at Double or Nothing, and then that with that, and it was just, yeah.
yeah, it fell pretty flat, didn't it?
We're now in for a freeway. That should be on the pre-show. Do not put that on
Oh,
my main. Do
but you
not.
know it's not going to be on the on the pre-show though, because it's fucking Jericho. They're not going to put Jericho on the
Yeah, but
pre-show.
it's the FTW title, and I've always been a defender of like get Hook on the main show, but clearly it's just to add a artificial road hurdle in between Hook and Jericho
Mm,
because like that's the long-term feud and they clearly want to extend that out. Like I have no problem with them extending that out and Hook being the one to write him off TV. I felt like that's where they're going since day one of this feud, really.
mm.
But yeah, just randomness in my opinion. Just
Yeah, it just
like I say, artificial, just for the sake of it, and just making things more convoluted than they need to be.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause last week we had Shibata kind of laying the foundations to face Hook. We also had
Yeah, yeah.
Samoa Joe, so it was kind of like, oh, is he going to face Samoa Joe or Shibata? And then we got this, and I was kind of like, okay, I mean, fine, but it's like out of nowhere, and now, like you said, we've got a triple threat on Sunday for Double or Nothing.
And if you want to do the triple threat, and it's like Shibata's kind of his like friend in that sort of Shibata, Orange Cassidy, Hook, best friends, that little verse, I can get behind that story. And what you would do is you would have Shibata, you'd have Hook, you'd build it up, you'd build up. It's a very easy story to tell that you feel like your friend's overlooking you.
Mm,
Um, you know,
yeah, yeah.
Rick Marcus, RPD.
Oh my God. Storytelling
Shout out
101.
Storytelling 101. But it's a great, simple but great story to tell. Why would you not do that? Have a bit of build up. Have them have the one-on-one. If you want to have them do the draw, have them have the draw on Wednesday, and then do the stupid freeway if that's what you want to do. But
Mm.
don't insult me and just throw in Brian Keith and God.
I
Do you know
I
what I
felt
mean?
yes, because I felt bad for Brian Keith as well, because sometimes you have that spot in wrestling where two people have got a submission hold on the same person, and you're like, oh my God, if he taps now, what's gonna happen? But it doesn't ever happen. But then it did
Yeah,
happen. Like, oh, okay. So you just wanted him to lose. Like
yeah.
we've already said, you just wanted him to lose. That was the whole point of this match.
But there's better ways to do it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd have been like, let's just get to Jericho Hook. Let's just get it on. And you can still extend it out. There's still ways to extend it out, but if you want to do this freeway, like I said, there was history there. There was a story to be built up. You didn't need to. It's the same with the Monet Willow thing.
Yeah, it's just
They didn't need to
overcomplicated.
throw in all the extra. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Willow Money, that was the next video package, just a nice little recapping of the story,
Yeah, that was
which
that
I
was
appreciate.
yeah, I love a good video package. And
But
it's
I
just
would have
like,
appreciated if they were actually on the show.
well, yeah, but
Cause a
then
bit weird, isn't it?
yeah, it is weird because if you the packaging it as like a triple main event, double or nothing, and that's one of the main events, so you would think they'd continue the story on the go home show. But on the other side of that, I'm kind of like, well, what more could they really do?
No, I agree, but it's just yeah, still a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think it shows that if Monet was so over and so hot, they wouldn't get away with not putting her on the show. It's like CM Punk.
Mm,
Do you think in the early days of CM Punk, when CM Punk was doing the whole promo thing, not fighting thing, do you think they'd have gotten away with not putting him on the Go Home show before his debut at the
mm,
pay-per-view fighting?
mm.
No, they wouldn't. The fact that it's inconsequential and it's just us saying, well, they should have put her on, but what could they have done? Just shows there's nothing there.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
hopefully, we want the best for her, we want the best for the women's division, and I think the Willow's great. I hope Monet is not too. I mean, she hasn't been out too long, but not too rusty, and they can put out a great performance. Monet can hopefully solidify the heel turn in the match. I would quite like that, and
Yeah.
then we're going in on the return show. She's charged up. She's heel. Whether that be a win or a loss, personally, I'd have a lose to really cement the heel turn.
Mm,
That would make the most sense. I'm sorry, getting into predictions here. She comes in and people are behind her because of her wrestling. I hope that's the outcome.
yeah, yeah, that'll be ideal because I think it'll be a good match. I do think it'll be a good match. I'm really looking forward to watching it. But to like in terms of wrestling, I'm sure it'll be great. But to make it really, really, really great, they need to, yeah, like you say, go the right direction with the just her going heel and tapping into her strengths, which
What
is
I'm
like the
saying
tapping
is,
heel.
yeah, I hope that the match is so good that it's worth waiting for and it overwrites all this bullshit and we can
Yeah,
just start.
yeah,
That's what I'm kind of
exactly.
saying, and we can kind of forget about the. I don't want to nitpick every week. Oh, this was a promo package when it should have been out. It's boring, and it must be boring to listen to as well. So for the sake of everyone,
Yeah.
no pressure, but it better be a fucking banger. But after that, there was another little video package. It was for Moxley and Takeshita. Um, Pretty nice. I think it was mainly at first I just thought it was just a purely Takeshita, uh, like vignette, but then it brought in Moxley towards the end. But
Mm.
I thought it was nice because I do feel like Takeshita has kind of been pushed towards the wayside a little bit. I know
Mm,
he's got the match, but I don't know. I don't know. So I just appreciated that. I think he needed it. Mox doesn't need shit.
yeah,
He don't need
yeah, so
shit.
true.
As proven by the segment. He doesn't like the simplicity. He can just do simple things like Orange Cassidy and he's over.
Exactly.
But I liked how they were like protecting Takeshita a bit in that, and I think it was needed.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He's maybe faded a little bit into the background with everything else going on. So, yeah, that was really
So many
nice.
debuts and so
Mm,
much going on.
yeah.
But still. So we had Takeshita against mine and Lucy's favourite jobber, Matt Sydal.
Everyone's favorite jobber.
Yeah, everyone's favourite jobber. This was a squash match.
Yeah.
Um, and
By the way, the
if
favorite jobber is Matt Sydal, just in case you didn't know.
yeah, just in case. No, it's actually just someone totally random. It's just a
A
fucking
local talent. Like from last week, I think there was a local talent, wasn't there? Can't remember the name
yeah,
now,
just
but
generic local
creator wrestler
talent.
number two.
Who is your favorite jobber? I feel that is such a great question.
Yeah, that is. What a good
Like
icebreaker
in
that is.
history.
In
Yeah.
history, God, I don't know. I can't think of any now. Like, I mean, I don't know. Do you remember?
What constitutes as like a jobber?
Yeah, well, yeah, true. It depends, like, what your
Like
definition of a jobber.
would Liz Truss be a jobber?
Oh my God.
You know, like I want to see
Yes.
what the real world crossover is to jobber.
Yes. She ate the pin so bad. She was such a transitional prime minister. Amazing. Yeah,
Everyone
that's so
registered to
true.
vote.
Yes,
Yeah.
register to vote now. And if you can't make it to the polling station, register for a postal vote.
Like I say, it was a squash match. And the offence continued after the match in typical squash match fashion. Because it's not enough to have them eat the pin after being ragdolled around for 2 minutes. We've got to absolutely pummel them to the ground. Mox came out, wild thing. Walks in with the mic as though he's going to cut a promo. And this was hilarious. I laughed so much this episode.
Yes.
Maybe not with the product, maybe at the product sometimes, but I was definitely laughing with it this segment because it just came in, bonked him on the head, and went, I'll see you there. And it was just hilarious.
It
Like it
was
was
just,
like
that's
a
so
similar.
Mox. That's so Mox.
Oh, it's so much.
I
Um
loved it.
Takeshita got, like I say, got a positive showing in the vignette. He had a nice little squash match. It wasn't totally discrediting. It was like the total butt of the joke, but it was definitely great. And then he's going to be able to come into the match on Sunday totally pissed off and amped up about that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, so did I. It was brilliant. It was, yeah, like I say, that's so Moxley, so nonchalant. And like I said before, like
Yeah,
he don't need all this. He just simple like that, and everyone's like, it's what was it, like 3 seconds, and everyone's talking about it and laughing about it. So it just goes to show you don't need to do loads to be memorable.
yeah, and somewhat more than an interference,
Mm,
or running like you're saying, like different
yeah.
things, different people and characters can do. Not every There is going to always be a bit of similarity towards the end go home shows when we get to this
Mm,
stage, but we can still
we can
think
vary it
of
up a bit.
different ways
Mm-hmm.
and cut a bit of time, to the point, nice and simple.
Yep.
Uh, so great. Next up was again Matthew and Nicholas continuing giving out their wanted posters, and Swerve was in the production seat, and I think he spat his gum out into one of the posters, screwed it up, and was like,
Yeah.
"Play my music." Just a nice little transition, really. Over it keeps the EVP stuff in mind, and it moves over to the Swerve thing. So really nice flow. Um, well, it was Swerve against Nick Wayne, which, like I say, a lot of history between them.
Mm,
Uh, Swerve was definitely a dick in that situation. He broke into
yeah.
this boy who's grieving his father who's just died and basically did like a drive-by and just assaulted him on camera. So yeah, a lot of history there. And like I say, even though Swerve is babyface, he's champ, he's all of our faves at the minute. He was a dick in that situation. So Nick Wayne has
100%.
full rights to, be pissed off and
Yeah.
ready to attack. There's some nice moments. Nick Wayne's kind of got that high flying, punchy, really cool style.
Mm.
That I think is definitely reflective of the new generation of wrestlers.
Yeah, he's so
You
young,
know,
isn't he? He's just a baby, like, but he's
he
really
is just
good.
a baby, but yeah, very, very good. But I don't know, there's something about him that I just find quite refreshing to watch. And Swerve's obviously very refreshing to watch. So they were just a great mesh. I loved the reversal um into the DDT
Oh my God, that was insane.
uh on the mat. That was
Yeah,
that
Nick
was
Wayne
really
went for
cool.
like a crossbody, didn't he? And then or something like flying, and
Yeah,
then
Swerve kind of just chucks him up, props
caught him,
him
and
on his
then
shoulders, and then bam into a DDT. Yeah, it
on
it
the
was
on the
really something.
floor as well.
Yeah.
So extra brutal.
And then we got the swerve stomp as well, off the apron. That was pretty nasty.
Hmm.
Um, just just not like so high risk that it's going to put them at threat for the go home show, but just
Yeah,
something, just something a little bit. Because at the same time, during a go home show, I don't want to see people get injured, but sometimes
exactly.
it's quite transparent when they're holding back,
Yes, yeah,
and it kind of breaks the fourth wall. But then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like, oh, don't do that, and then like I'm acting like a mark, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. You're gonna injure yourself before the thing, and it's like, shut up. Like, but this was like just the perfect tempo, and I could just enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. It just felt like an this doesn't sound daft, but like a normal match, but like
Yeah,
they were properly wanting to beat each other, and like like you said, they had the history behind it, and you could feel that history. I think it was like intense, but not to the extent where you were like, oh, they're going too hard for the pay-per-view, like you said.
yeah. It's like mini Bowser, because obviously Bowser's Christian, his dad, so he's
Mm-hmm.
got to defeat him, hasn't he?
Mm.
Uh, that mini boss type vibe. Anyway, Swerve did pick up the win with a really great house call. He apologized before delivering, and then Killswitch came out, attacked Swerve. Uh, Strickland fought back, and Christian came out, didn't he?
Mm. Yeah, with the MILF herself.
With the final MILF. Um, and he was chasing Christian around. Uh, he escaped, ran into the car, and I thought, oh, he's going to run to the car and drive away. And I was a bit like, well, like, I enjoy it, but I've seen this spot quite a few times now,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just a bit like,
Whatever.
okay, yeah, I guess that's it. But then, for instance, Nana, because obviously he's been off the scene for a bit, he blocked the car in. We got the great shot of him. Swerve just rips Christian out, throws him on I was gonna say the apron of the car. Jesus Christ,
You
what am
what
I
am
on about?
I?
The roof of the car. He did well, it was ragdolling him about, like I said, and then there was the DDT on the roof of the car. And then attempted the chair shot while he was sort of slumped over, but Christian made the escape and ran away, which was great.
It was
It
so
ended. It's still
entertaining
you still got that runaway spot, which you should get,
from a cowardly
but
heel.
like he got a lot in it. Yeah, it was really, like I say, really enjoyable from start to finish. The match, the follow up,
Yeah.
uh, the whole thing.
It was so entertaining. It was so like unexpected, like you say, because it was like, oh, he's just gonna drive away. That's pretty, whatever. But then, yeah, and it was
It
it
was a
was like this
fun
this
spot at
car,
first.
yeah, 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 and this car just came out of nowhere, and it was like,
Yeah,
whoa, what on earth? And then the fact that it was Nana as well, it was brilliant, so entertaining. There were some other cool moments in this match as well that I don't think we've mentioned yet. Right at the very start, um, Swerve got like his belt and was just spanking the shit out of Nick Wayne, and that was just really funny. Uh,
yeah.
and then as well, as Swerve was like running to like chasing after Christian, he Kill Switch was like on the floor outside the ring, and he hit him with like a drive-by
Oh
house
yeah,
call.
with the shot.
It was just brilliant. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
out of absolutely nowhere, and then he just kept on running like it was absolutely nothing. So yeah, overall, that was really
No,
entertaining segment.
yeah, a great prequel for what's to come on Sunday, and
Yeah,
hopefully, you know, it's one of those where you look forward to having them all at ringside because they're heels and yeah, they're annoying because they interfere, but they're always so entertaining and they're never too much.
yeah, because sometimes it can be a bit overbearing, but yeah, you're right. It's not. It's like entertaining. It's I've said that
Yeah,
word like 5 times about this segment, but
yeah, fantastic. So then we're getting on to, I think, probably the most talked about that I've seen segment of the show,
yeah.
which was Malachi uh against Kyle O'Reilly. He came out wearing Copeland's ring. I know you were very interested about the whereabouts of that ring. What you wanted to know what were going on with that ring last week.
Oh
You
yeah, I
wanted
was
answers.
I was enthralled by that. They're definitely doing something with it, but I'm glad that it's not like taking over. Like they zoomed in on it, didn't they? Like at the start, like, oh look, he's got his wedding ring.
That element of martial art style and the mat wrestling. Um, it was a good change of pace. Like we always say, Dynamite's got a bit of everything, and this was a
Mhm.
refreshing match. It got quite a bit of time as well, I thought.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Um, I don't really know what to say other than it was just a great match, some great hard hitting strikes. Um,
it was a bit overshadowed.
yeah, it's a bit. It's kind of like you enjoyed it, and then what happened next happened. So Kyle O'Reilly did lose, which was kind of predictable. He's not the one going in for the match. It's Malachi, and Kyle O'Reilly is kind of like the little fanboy supporter of Copeland. So
Yeah.
he's the mini Bowser. That is the technical term that we will use from now on. The mini Bowser.
hmm
Um, but yeah, he lost because Malachi kind of fainted out the roundhouse kick and then he delivered it. It was a nice finish, calculated, calm, cool. Um, just I really enjoy that about Malachi's style of wrestling. Sometimes it just doesn't really come across because he just doesn't get his character's wrestling is more
Yes.
slow burn, and sometimes like even I don't have the patience for that, especially when it's spooky. But
Yeah.
when it's given the right amount of time, and like it was in Black and Gold NXT, the format,
Mhm.
it's really great, and it really brings across like his character.
Yeah, when you
And
have
maybe
it
it's just he
in,
hasn't been able to wrestle enough, and maybe that's why like
yeah,
it's hard to like connect with that slow, because you can sit in the darkness surrounded by candles and be like, oh, I'm so me, I'm the master of worlds and all this lot, and it's just like I'm not really buying it. But then when I see you wrestle and you wrestle in that style, I can buy into it a bit more.
yeah, I think when it's like putting like a full stop on the match with the finisher, like you said, it was calculated the way he finished it.
And it's
Then
always
it
been a great finish of that.
yeah, and that's when it really brings it to your attention is like when it matters and it wins in the match. That
Yeah,
brings you full attention to it. The way that
and
his style.
yeah, like I was always a big Alistair Black fan actually. Like I know I sound like I just hate Alistair Black and I hate him, but he wasn't very spooky back in the day, so I could kind of get on board. I really did love him in that just indie Ring of Honor.
hmm
He was able to continue over that Tommy end. It was pretty much just a continuation really of
hmm
his characters, of his character on the indies. Um so yeah, I mean, I hope that this just continues. And maybe it's just because he's getting some solo work as well, rather than just being tied to House of Black all the time.
Yeah, I
I
think
do think
he's
sometimes
better.
that waters him down a bit. I think he's better as an individual.
Yeah, 100% agreed. He's so unique, and I understand putting him in a faction and making him this big sort of cult leader, and I do think he sort of fits that role. But for him to shine, his personality and his character to come through, it's not gonna come through if you try to pair him with people who are exactly the same. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe if he's in a faction with people that are a bit different. Yeah, I think maybe that's why the House of Black for me is just a bit like monotone. It's just one note.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's hard to see the nuance. I think you've hit the nail. I think that's my problem. I can't see the nuance in his character if he's just surrounded by everyone who's the same
hmm
and everyone kind of bleeds into each other.
Yeah, yeah, I get
Um,
it.
and another thing I want to point out just before we get on to the bit that I know we're dying to talk about. What did you think about Kyle O'Reilly losing again? Because he's kind of been on a losing streak since he's come back. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kyle, and I don't ever want to see him lose, and I feel like it's a shame that he's looking quite weak since he's come back. But I guess if you come back and from a really bad injury, and it would, I guess it kind of makes sense. You need to warm up a bit. You're maybe not on top of your game. Um, I don't think it depends where. Obviously, it depends where they go from here. If it's going to hurt him in the long run or not. But you know, hmm, yeah, I'm not happy about it because I think he deserves all the success in the world. But I'm not. I'm not like sort of pissed off yet. I just hope that
Yeah.
he can go somewhere. Like if he can take this on the chin and be like, "Fuck, I suck at the moment. I need to get better. I need to prove myself," sort of thing. Then it can be an effective story.
Yeah, or if it's like we said when he first came back, like a continuation of the Undisputed Kingdom,
Hmm.
and they're going to prey on him, and he's going to be brought into that. Maybe when Adam Cole's back in full effect, maybe we sort of see him be brought in a bit more. Because what was it during that little fallout of the segment where my mind's gone blank, but it was Kyle O'Reilly versus someone,
Mm.
and they didn't beat down Kyle O'Reilly, but they beat down the other person. Or was it like Wardlow or there was something like that, and we remarked on it how it was strange. Like he just kind of like nodded to Kyle O'Reilly, and he wasn't that like
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. I can't remember who the other person was, but yeah, it was kind of like they're just leaving each other alone sort of thing. Like they're just
yeah yeah
kind of
yeah yeah
going their separate ways. So there's not like, but then Kyle has said, hasn't he, like, oh, I don't want to get involved. But it's like a
yeah
Willy won't type of situation.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not the like you said whether it's he's going to take it on the chin or whether they've got long-term story for him. It's not the end of his character, but I just wanted to remark because he has lost a lot in a short space of time.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Um, so something has to give because whether that be character change, whether that be story or what, uh,
Hmm.
because he can't be in this little limbo of being a bitch for
Yeah, I'd
so
wonder
long, for lack of better words.
what they're doing with because he was sort of ish having a little story with Copeland, like we sort of touched on, but that's not really
Yeah, I've
gonna go.
never just been used like an engine for this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That doesn't really seem like it's going anywhere.
but I'm not mad because I feel like something he's kind of been doing too often. And we've touched on that is he keeps bringing in third parties, and then everything just kind of loses. Everything just becomes so muddled. You know, the Harley Cameron and Soraya thing, bringing it in with the Tony Storm thing, the God, I'm trying to think, but my mind's going blank now.
Yeah,
The
but
Jericho
there's a few
Shibata hook
instances of
thing.
it.
There's so many where like the Willow Monet thing, and we're just bringing other people in, and then sometimes some people do just need to be used for vehicles,
Yeah.
not artificial bump as in like the Shibata thing, but like you know
Hmm.
to get them across the river from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to remark on it though. We'll see. Um, anyway, getting on to what everyone actually wants us to talk about. Maybe I'm just delaying because it's just so crazy that my mind's kind of blown. So he won. He won. Happy days. Then suddenly there's red lighting everywhere. You're thinking, all right. Um, clearly Copeland likes a bit of mood lighting.
Mm.
Um, you gotta think as well, like breaking the fourth wall. Like, how does this go down? Like, does he just go to like the production truck? Does he go to the EVPs and go, right? I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna throw blood on Malachi Black, and they're like, yeah, fair enough. And then they're like, oh, and I want a bit of mood lighting. I want some red lighting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's probably a production crew sort of. Oh, we gotta set the mood for this. Get that red spotlight on.
Yeah. So we had that, and then there was this massive blood drop. I've never seen anything like it. It was like Carrie style, just Nickelodeon Kids Awards
That's what I
slime
was just about to
core.
say. That's what I was about to
Like,
say. It was like the slime. It was like that projectile, like high pressure slime
yeah,
type of,
Katy Perry when she opens the box and it
and
it
it
were
literally kills her
ridiculous.
off. Yeah, yeah,
Do
it
you know
was
what I think it
exactly
was
like
though? They're traumatized from when they did that exploding ring. And now they're like, all of our props have to be top notch. They're like, we can't have a fucking piddly bit of blood come down. It's like, we need bucket loads of blood coming down. I'm not being embarrassed again.
yeah, Tony Khan's like, get that fucking water pressure up right now. I do not care if it kills off Adam Copeland. We are not having another exploding ring situation on our hands.
Yeah. So he literally he's falling about, he's slipping about, like it was just hilarious. And then it cuts to the back. Copeland's pupils are massive. He looks mental.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah, what is it? What is it with the I don't know what they're doing with these like backstage promos, summit.
I was
Super
cracking
intense.
up at this. Not even just at the blood drop, but Copeland's acting. And he was like, be careful what you wish. It was the commitment to the bit. Mans was committed. I've never seen Mans be so committed. Fuck The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell match 2008, alright, guys. Fuck the Lita storyline. Fuck, when he had his World Heavyweight Championship reign. Fuck everything. Fuck the Brood. Fuck Edge and Christian. Fuck it all. This was the most commitment this man has ever had to anything in his single career.
I mean,
It was
yeah,
insane.
the passion behind it.
He loves being spooky.
Yeah, he really does. He's got a thing for it, doesn't he?
He's got, oh my god. It,
But
what do you
yeah,
say to this segment? What do you say? I'm trying to think, how do I wrap this up? How do I conclude my what do you say to that?
honestly, there's nothing to say. You just look at it and you go, oh fuck. And then that's it. Like, what is there to say? How are you even going to like address that on commentary? Other than saying, well, that fucking happened, didn't it? That was a bit weird. Moving on.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I mean, we'll go into. We've got our predictions coming up, so I think we'll talk about obviously a bit more because it's going to be a cage match. So yeah, very interesting. Next up we had an Anarchy in the Arena video package. Very exciting. And then we had the women's match, which was a tag with Mariah May versus Harley Cameron and Saraya. And my first thought was, how the hell does this relate to Serena Deeb? And I knew she was going to do running because she had to do running. But I just thought, really?
It's like the same as pretty much what I said last week. It's like, you're building up to this women's championship match, supposedly the biggest, most important belt, which it doesn't feel like it is at this point in time. And the challenger's not even wrestling on the show. Like, yeah, she didn't have to wrestle on the show, but uh, she, her and Tony Storm should have had some sort of altercation. I mean, yes, they
The
did,
most
but
half-assed
it should
thing
have
is a
been,
backstage interview.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is the most half-assed thing you could have done. Just and you know what? It would have only cut like 1 minute into the show. Just do a half-ass interview,
yeah.
something, because it's like you say, to not even wrestle, to not do anything on the show, just a shit running.
Tony Storm is like kind of involved in another story with Saraya and Mariah May and Harley Cameron.
Yeah,
That's
it just
that's
felt
the
like she
thing
was
that
getting
I
in the
don't
way of
get.
it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I
Yeah,
don't understand. It's like, okay, like have a wrestle, but why is she getting involved in another story?
why
It's
is the
kind of
biggest
distracting
concern not the
from it.
belt?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why. Because she's just too busy doing a striptease, apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing I did take away from it is all these women were very equal in the ring in terms of character and charisma.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. To be fair, it was a good match, and
It was entertaining.
yeah.
Um,
You like you say, yeah, they were all sort of had their own chance to show off the character, and this story would probably be fine if it wasn't for
Yeah,
the
it's kind of
fact that
crazy versus crazy, I think, is the
mm,
storyline. They're both tag teams are absolutely mental in the head. Um, but it made it even more jarring when Serena Deeb came out and did the interference, because it's like her charisma matched with not only Tony Storm, but now there's three other women. So there's like four women who are outshining her just from a character, just from aura standing there.
you're so right.
It did nothing for it. Yeah, Mariah May and Tony Storm won with like the psycho kissing, making out.
Yeah.
Because of course they did. They had both did the finishes in stereo. Picked up the win. Tony held out the Deeb flag as a taunt, and I was like, really? So Deeb comes out, launches an attack, and walks up the ramp with the flag.
Yeah, she hit Tony with her shoe, didn't she?
Oh yeah, sorry with the heel. That
Yeah.
was how forgettable it was. They just gave her nothing. Like they've just given her absolute and I don't think she's a person to be in that position. I don't think she's charismatic to be enough in that position. But they're not even helping her.
No, it's like give us
No
something.
favors.
Yeah,
She's her strength is wrestling. So why the hell is she not wrestling?
yeah, very true. And as well, like because well, just because of the whole story, but also partly I think because Tony Storm was like teasing that she was gonna strip off like she did on Collision because they showed a
Yeah,
clip of that. So when Serena
yeah.
interrupted that, obviously everybody booed because everyone wants to see a naked woman. So then it's like, oh my God, I hope they're not I think I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be leaning in the direction of not having to try to force Serena to be a face when it's obviously not working. Because she was being
Yeah, I was
wholeheartedly
gonna say
booed
at the
very
end, that
loudly.
submission spot was very heelish.
Yeah, everything that
But
she
I feel
was
like to just
doing
change it
was
up the
heelish.
week before, yeah, I agree, go with the mentor, but to change it up a week before the pay-per-view, it's
If
not
it
good enough.
if it's flowing that way though, I mean, like a Stone Cold Brett style double turn. That was
But
kind
they
of
should have
like,
thought that out there that never let those words leave your mouth
well,
again.
she was holding in the submission. I was like, oh, that's what that reminds me of.
Wow. Um, yeah, I mean, hopefully, let's just get it over and I'm just get the match over and done with.
I just want to see if yeah, same, but I want to see if Serena's gonna be heel or
Which is
not
going to
this
be you.
weekend. Yeah,
uh, yeah, I mean, I still think it's just weird though because there hasn't been enough time. Like, if she'd have been out in the crowd for longer, they would have gotten a feel for the fact that she should be heel for longer, and then this
yeah,
whole thing won't
exactly.
be rushed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we fucked up, quickly turn a heel, and yeah, it's better than it being face, but it's still not good.
Oh yeah, no, it's not.
Um, but yeah. So then we had a Bang Bang Gang promo backstage. They always do great for a quick backstage. They just always smash them out. And it's just promoting a match with the Guns against Lucha Bros on Collision, which should be good. And then we got our main event, which was a weird main event because it was Satnam Singh versus Danielson. Oh my god, I screamed when Jeff Jarrett came out. I've never been so happy. I don't know why. Like, I just love him so much. Karen wasn't there, bless her heart, but oh, it was good to see him.
When we turned up at Wembley, having joked about like, oh my God, I hope he's here and I hope Karen's there, and then they actually fucking were. We were like the
Oh,
only ones in our section popping off.
the bleach was glowing like a golden halo around his head. The shine of his guitar. Oh, it was just great. It was great to see all of them. I've missed them, not gonna lie. I did think it was a weird main event, like I say. I get that the whole thing is like the books have paid off Satnam,
hmm
but like, is that who they're gonna pay off? Really? You
Well,
couldn't think of anyone better.
if you want to build up someone as like what's the word? Like a big guy, like a muscled
Yeah, but
down
that's not what they're
freak.
doing, Lucy, is it? It's not, is it? It's obviously like a throwaway.
Yeah, I know. I think it was announced like early last week, wasn't it? Um, so
Yeah.
and it's just yeah, I mean, obviously the story that they're going with is that the books, paid him off to take out Danielson. But yeah, I guess you make a fair point. Would that really be the person that they chose? Yeah, he's tall.
And for the main
Okay.
event, maybe if it was like a different positioning.
Yeah, it was quite strange it being the main event.
Yeah, yeah. But it was pretty fun. They had pretty played into Danielson's smaller, scrappier. Satnam's just, and he is a great big man. He wrestles for his size.
hmm
Um, and he sells for his size with the stumbling.
hmm
It's entertaining to watch because as much as like I love to see a big guy who's like super flexible and super agile and it's
It's a
nice to see
classic.
that classic. It's just a classic, it's just tasteful.
It
Um,
is.
yeah, so pretty fun. But the match was cut short because there was a pile on. from Danielson by the EVPs. Well, actually, I think before then, like it just kind of broke down with Team TNA. Jeff Jarrett tried to hit him with the guitar. Danielson managed to kind of like avoid it for a while. Give Mick Satnam eat the guitar. I think. Was it Sanjay?
I think it was Sanjay,
No, it was
wasn't it?
Satnam.
Was it? All right,
What
okay.
was Sanjay?
I don't know because I wouldn't have been
It
able to
was
see.
all a blur.
Yeah, it was. I would have thought that would be DQ, but I can't remember.
Oh, it was, yeah. They all attacked, they DQ'd, then on comms, they were like, oh, this was the plan all along, like it was
Hmm.
just they were being paid off to just beat him down before the match. And then the EVPs came out, there was a massive pile-on. Danielson kind of managed to get the advantage, only for Perry and Okada to arrive on the scene, so that leveled it out again. And then Darby Allin came out in a hot pink coat with a flamethrower.
A fucking fuck off massive flamethrower as well.
Did nothing with it. Just stood there with the flamethrower, just like this.
Well, just ask
Like he did nothing with it.
just ask
It was
member
ridiculous.
FTR.
And
Sometimes you
everyone
don't
was
need
just
to.
like,
Just ask the members of FTR. Sometimes you don't need to use your weapon. You just need to show everyone that you've got one, and that's enough. Yeah, I don't know. It was so funny though when it was just
it was
like, what the
hilarious.
fuck?
It was a hilarious visual.
What the fuck?
And then,
Where did that come from?
yeah,
Wait,
Nick
hang
getting
on.
sent
We
through the
you skipped out
table.
a quite important part there. The
Well,
the fact that Tony Khan was the one who dropped him off at the arena.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah. What a great boss.
I mean, yeah, world's best boss right there.
Great boss. Clearly caring about the health and safety of his employees.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that
apparently
little bit.
Darby was the one who pushed for it as well. As soon
Push
as he
for
heard
what?
it
The
was the
flamethrower?
well, to come back, like as soon as he heard that Eddie Kingston was out, he was the one who called up Tony Khan and was like, "I'm going to try and get cleared."
Oh, what? I'm not surprised. Not
Because I
surprised
know
at
you were
all.
saying as well last week, like, "Oh, how has he managed to get cleared so fast? Is it on behalf of AEW just irresponsibly clearing him or what?" But it was him apparently who just was like, "I need to come back."
Yeah,
Because of
that
course,
seems exactly the
why would
sort
you
of thing
not
you
need
would
to come
do.
back for the most violent match
Hmm.
in AEW?
Of course.
But yeah, it was hilarious. Like I say, I forgot about that Tony Khan, and then the pink hot coat, the flamethrower, and that was it. Like that's what cracked me up was he didn't try to point the flamethrower at anyone. They just ran away and I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Why would you go near him with a flamethrower? But he was just having time of his life.
He's just having fun. He's
I
just,
hope it, but I was
playing
thinking, I hope it
fire.
comes out in Anarchy in the Arena that
Oh, I mean, I think he's gonna set himself on fire and like dive off something.
dive, not dive, just die.
Yeah, that too.
Set himself on fire and just throw himself at someone.
Yeah.
Human weapon.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely
Yeah,
see that happening. What did you catch when I think it was Nick was he'd just been thrown off the stage and the camera
yeah,
was
from
on
that
him and
table.
yeah, and he went, how can you do this to me, you perv? And then like it like trailed off. Like it cut from him, but it's kind of like his voice was just trailed off and it was really funny.
Yeah, and then it cut to like Okada and that. It was this whole show just felt like a train wreck, but it was quite hilarious at the
It was
same
so
time.
funny.
Like
I was laughing so often at it. But like you said, sometimes it
it,
was with it and sometimes it was at it.
yeah. Um a very chaotic ending to and it's like you say, how's this gonna go down? Darby Allin surrounded by pure wrestlers. Well, now you know how it's gonna bloody go down. He's just gonna get out a fucking flamethrower and just throw it haywire.
Yeah, they're going to be like trapped in like the most insane like collar and elbow of all time. And then he's just going to be at the
Yeah.
top of like a 10-foot ladder and just jump on top of everyone while on fire with fucking drawing pins in his back or something.
I think the only way to rank this episode is on vibes.
Yeah, vibes
So
alone.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
That's what I
No,
was
I'm
going to
not.
say.
I feel like 7.5, and 7.5 is quite low.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna
For a go
lie.
home show, it's kind of in its own category.
Hmm.
It's, you've also got to rank it on how much you're looking forward to watching the actual show, to watching the card, the build up.
Yes,
Um, and it wasn't boring for a go home show. It was just a laugh.
exactly. It was a laugh. It was like I say, it was a roller coaster of meh to holy shit. But overall, I was entertained and I enjoyed it, and I'm really excited for Sunday, which is the point
Yeah.
of a go home show, like we've said. So I
Yeah,
was thinking,
think less, feel more. Fuck it, we'll go
yeah,
for an 8.
exactly. That's our thing. We got to practice what we preach. Think less, feel more.
Yeah. Like, don't overthink it. Um, Obviously there was some moments we're critical of, but
But as
they're
always,
vibrating. As always. But
overall vibes, 8 out of
overall
10.
vibes, an 8. Yeah. Some are interesting, some are a bit different. Um, yeah, so that'll wrap it up for the show. So we will get into predictions, but before we do, I just want to touch on a few little scrappy news stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the first one I want to point out is this past Saturday, Collision had the biggest audience since September 2023. So it's
Oh,
continued to have a spike in viewership. So I just wanted to bring that up.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting. That's good.
Yeah, it is interesting. I thought that was quite an achievement. Again, not to be a demo bro, but that is to say how shit it has been doing. Um, and to be fair, like the segments recently have been doing a bit better. I think one of the main things is getting rid of the random luchadors.
Mm,
But then I think to myself, with the Forbidden Door, it was supposed to be a triple between New Japan and CMLL.
mm-hmm.
Or was it AAA? Or was it AAA and CMLL? But I think it was CMLL. Anyways, it was supposed to be a trip, but then like they've done away with the luchadors, so I'm like, how's that going to work?
Well, we'll wheel
What's
them
the
out
interest
for.
there?
We'll bring them
We'll wheel them back out.
for amazing joy.
Yeah. Again, I'm not anti luchador. I'm okay, but yeah, and I understand that Collision is supposed to be that classic WCW style of a mix of people. It kind of has that traveling territory
Mm,
vintage wrestling style, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at it for having a different style and for
mm-hmm.
having a more match sports. And if that's what you want to do, make it sports presentation based. It was best ran when Punk was running it. Let's just put our hands up and say that. It had a clear vision, one man's vision that was different from Tony Khan.
Mm.
And that's, I think, when it worked best. But yeah, lately the segments have been quite entertaining. The match has been quite entertaining. And it's just kind of been chugging away in the background. So just, yeah, good for Collision.
Yeah, that's great to
Um,
hear.
yeah. Next up, Sting's son, Stephen Borden, he was the one in the Wolf Pack Sting attire, I believe, the
Yes.
red bodysuit. Uh, he was the better one. He did this like really great, if you remember, uh, sort of elbow. It's like just a full body splash, actually, I think. But he got like amazing airtime, and
Yeah.
he was a really great standout. But he has decided that he has got the bug, and he is going to train to become a wrestler, follow in
Yeah,
his father's footsteps. So
that's
I thought
great.
that was
Yeah.
pretty nice and wholesome.
Very wholesome. Yeah, I think he's like a football player or something, so like he's obviously
Yeah,
athletic and
yeah, he
stuff, so
played for college football, I'm pretty
mm,
sure. So yeah, got that athletic background, and he definitely had something natural that night.
mm,
Being a second, third generation wrestler is incredibly difficult, though. So wish him all the best.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely. I hope
it's one thing to put your dad's mask on and go out in his retirement match. It's another thing to do it. But genuinely,
good luck.
hope it goes well for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck for him. Um, and then the third thing I wanted to touch on is SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been
What?
announced that it's going to be 2 nights in Minneapolis, August the 3rd to the 2nd
Oh
in
my
August.
God.
Uh, I
Do we
think it might be. I think it's not this year though. It might be 2025 or 2026. But I did just want to point it out that it's a 2 night event.
it's
Um,
yeah,
WrestleMania stepped up to a 2 night, so I just thought that was a note that we're extending SummerSlam
it's
into a 2 night event.
yeah, I've just quickly Googled it. It's 2026. So that's
Yeah.
two years, but fucking hell.
But I think it shows a step in the direction they're taking. And if you think that between now and 2026 they're not going to extend more shows or do more different things, I
Mm,
think that's a sign of things to come. So what do you make of that SummerSlam being a 2 night event? Because I
I
know you
don't
enjoy a bit of your head.
I can't be bothered with WrestleMania being 2 nights. It has its benefits, WrestleMania being 2 nights. Obviously, you can fit more in. It's not as long of a night and you split it
Mm.
between two. But oh my God, SummerSlam does not need it at all. Like I know it's supposed to be like the second biggest one to Mania, but for years to me it's not felt like that. And that this just feels a bit like overkill to me, to be honest.
No, I wonder whether like the production value is going to stay the same because at that point, isn't it just 2 WrestleManias?
Yeah, yeah, but then how can you make one feel how can you make like Mania feel so important and like the biggest event in wrestling, and but
When
then
SummerSlam's coming up.
yeah, and then sell that almost as
I
much.
think they'll definitely sell it. I
Oh
think
yeah,
people are
yeah.
just
I don't mean sell
people
as in
just
like sell
people just
tickets.
want more and more and more. Like even WWE is in hot demand. It's going to go over to Netflix, and good for that and good for the fans. I'm happy you're getting all that content, but you have to think in 2026 with a long-term business mindset. Will the hype still be there, or will we
Mm.
get burnout? Because we're already getting a bit burnout with the Cody reign, and people are getting tired of him. So I have to think, and maybe with Netflix, and it's just even more commodified and even more accessible. I mean, wrestling naturally goes in peaks and slumps in
Yeah.
terms of interest. I'm not saying, oh my god, all these people are going to become AEW fans and AEW is going to be like the number one brand. No, I don't think that at all. I think
Mm.
wrestling in general will be due soon a slump, and we're lining this up right with
Mm.
more and more and more capitalist sort of ethos of more. And but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy, more content, but I don't know. It's like you say. I mean, it just kind of diminishes Mania. I feel like.
Yeah, because why? Surely, like I've just said, WrestleMania is the most important, and that's why it needs more time, 2 nights. I don't know why SummerSlam needs 2 nights. I just don't. It's just WWE is just a fucking machine at the end of the day, isn't it? It's just how much
I
can we
mean,
squeeze
and
out of
with the
this?
locations that it's going out to as well, like they're really tapping into uh under the Khan and bloody Triple H regime, the European market, which is great. Europe has obviously been starved for wrestling programs. You only have to look at All In and the 83,000 ticket sales and what percentage of that was just casual fans that were just hyped for a wrestling event, not only in the
Yeah.
UK but in Europe. Um, but yeah, like I say, you do worry about oversaturation. And then you think about how many people are watching WWE and like, I want to be a wrestler too. And then
Mm-mm.
they're signing up for the local wrestling. And yeah, I'm happy wrestling's booming and thriving and it's on TikTok and it's on the mainstream and it's in pop culture. That's amazing. I love wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like a gatekeeper. Like I want wrestling
Yeah,
to
100%.
thrive. But I, I'm wary of oversaturation,
Well,
overconsumption,
you meant
and
yeah,
just those types of patterns.
you mentioned it coming to Europe and stuff and doing more shows. So I'm not sure if you knew about this or not. But Backlash in France, um, they were bragging because it was the biggest gate in WWE history. It was a tiny arena, so they were basically bragging that they charged so much for all these tickets that it got them the biggest
Yeah,
gate in history. because these European fans are so desperate for it that they'll pay for it. So now they've got Clash at the Castle round 2 coming to Glasgow, in not that long away, like next month I think, in a tiny arena. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's not a very big capacity, like under 20,000. The price of those tickets is fucking unbelievable. £300 cheapest for nosebleeds, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to go. I really did want to go, and I'm not going anymore because I cannot fucking afford that shit, right? And I don't think they've sold as much as they thought they were going to sell. So the demand is there, but also read the fucking room. Like, this country's in a cost of living crisis. We're not that fucking desperate. The amount of people I've seen on Twitter being like, I live in Glasgow and I can't afford to go. And Drew McIntyre is probably going to be main eventing, and people are like,
Yeah.
I can't drop this amount of money to go watch a wrestling show. It's ridiculous. I don't know. It it's it gets to a certain point. I know WWE have always been greedy, but this just feels like something's gone wrong with like this pricing is just so out of touch with reality,
Yeah.
and it's gonna look empty in
Um,
there. I don't. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like you said, like the commodification of it is unbelievable. Like, it's crazy. Those prices.
yeah. I mean, wrestling fatigue is one thing, um, but and I don't think the fatigue is there yet. I mean, you only have to hear the backlash crowd were popping. They
Yeah,
were popping. They were passionate. I don't think the fatigue is there. I'm just forecasting fatigue. But what you're bringing up is a totally another great point, which is the pricing and pricing people out of wrestling, which comes from commodifying it so much. Is you price out the market, which has always been the everyday working man. Wrestling
yes,
is a redneck sport. Always
exactly.
has been, always. It's not high class, highbrow entertainment. It's it's pop culture. It's a microcosm of pop culture,
Yeah,
um, and the stereotypes and the characters you see in that are of the time that we live in. But yeah, essentially just pricing out people. I did see just people chatting about that, the pricing of it, and yeah, it's like they've totally overestimated that. You only have to look at the demo, in TV ratings. TV ratings are tanking anyway. They're not very important. We're all moving over to streaming. They're moving to Netflix anyways. But one thing that people always buy wrestling for the networks because they think, oh my god, they get over a milli. Raw does like, I don't know what Raw's doing now. Is it in the two milli kind of
I don't
district, two
know.
point
I don't
five
know, to be
milli?
honest.
Massive numbers. I think,
Mm.
oh, yeah, let's get some advertisers on there. Barely any wrestling fans do not buy things,
So
so
true,
they get large numbers, but do you think those people are, are going to buy things or be watching the ads? Or no, they
yeah. Yeah,
don't. So
yeah, it's not that
actually,
type of audience, is it?
unless it's like a $40 wrestling shirt, they don't care. So
Replica
I
belt.
think, yeah, there is a total, and I don't think wrestling fans ever will be.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah,
think it ever will be influencerized or
yeah,
anything
no.
like that. It's just not the nature of the sport.
Yeah, it, that's so true. It's what wrestling in the UK was always like. It was so popular on TV back. I mean, going off on a bit of tangent here, but in the 70s,
Yeah, all regional, all local wrestling was.
so popular on TV. But then what happened was they changed the slot that it was on TV from to Saturday mornings, and that's when most of the people who were watching it were at work because they work shifts on Saturday mornings, and
Mm.
ratings fucking tanked. So like historically, it's always been like a working class sport, and it's kind of like with football, like it grassroots football. It's been working class, but then it's with the it's been bought out by sponsors, and footballers are paid ridiculous amounts of money, and then suddenly people can't afford a season ticket to go watch their favorite team. It's like this kind of
Yeah.
analogy. It's like it's a similar type of thing, where you
But how can both worlds exist? How can the Saudi world exist and the world of, over the top extravagance and the WrestleManias and the $1 million contracts, and we want all this, we want that, but then we also want working class, We want low
Well,
ticket
yeah,
prices.
I know.
You know,
But
how is it? Unless you're absolutely desperate, like Tony Khan, and you're doing bloody 4 for 1.
but
How are we going to all juggle this in terms of business? You know, you pick one
yeah,
demo or the other. You can't,
true,
and there is really only truly one demo,
true. But what I will
one that's
say
going to
is
support you through the whole time.
Tony Khan pretty much nailed it because he went all in and went for fucking Wembley Stadium, which meant it was so big that he could put really ridiculously cheap tickets, and he's done it again this year with the confidence that he'll fill it out and also sell the more expensive tickets. So then you're not
Yeah,
pricing anyone out. You're giving a lot of people a chance to come experience this amazing atmosphere, and you're also giving people a chance to spend £500+ on a fucking ringside ticket if they want. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But then this is what WWE did with Clash at the Castle first time round. They did a really big stadium, and it
But
was
it's
like,
almost like it's been a conscious decision for WWE then.
yeah,
That
yeah,
they'd
yeah,
rather
yeah.
have, it's like they're bragging about Backlash, so they'd rather have the bigger gate price. It's not about attendance. They don't even need to brag about that. It's just about making
Mhm.
as much money as possible. Which
Yeah,
again, it is for Tony Khan. It should be. It should be for any bloody business. But are you going to make the most money in the long run if you're pricing people out? You know, it's still bad in economics no matter how you cut it.
I I'm just interested to see how Clash at the Castle is gonna pan out
Yeah,
because
maybe we'll be getting some 4 for 1s. Maybe Estelle will be going. If
oh
it's
my
four for
God,
one, I'll be going.
here's the problem.
I actually work. Glasgow's a cursed place for me.
Yeah, I know. I booked a hotel like when it was first announced because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I definitely want to go, so I'll book a
And you had a
hotel.
great time at the Wales one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was
Your
like,
Clash,
and then they came back for Money in the Bank and I didn't go, and I felt like I missed out. So I was like, I'm not gonna miss out this time.
which was a bit more expenny, wasn't it? It was a step up, I
It was a
remember,
bit more,
from
yeah.
Clash, but not as much as what this is going to be.
Yeah, precisely. So I booked a hotel while it was still cheap, and then I was like, I don't want to pay this much for these tickets. So, um, then I found out that Frankie Boyle is doing a gig in Glasgow the same night, so I'm going to that instead. So I'm
Oh,
still gonna,
first.
I'm gonna be in Glasgow, and I'm thinking the atmosphere is still gonna be there. Maybe I can go to a bar and watch it or something. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm just curious to see if
And
what
you
they're
might
gonna
even
do.
get a cheap ticket on the day
Yeah, who knows? Who bloody knows? We'll see.
if there's loads going. But yeah, great discussion. Could talk about that all day. You know,
That's a
already getting
topic.
into. We are looking into in the future doing some themed once a month podcasts on topics, and I feel like that would have, you know, we could definitely talk about
100%.
that. That would have been a great one for that. So yeah. Anyway, but we are gonna have to cut that short, and we have to move on to the predictions.
Yeah.
So starting off, starting off with the best, we've got our triple threat for the FTW Championship. We've got Jericho versus Hook versus Shibata. What is your prediction?
I think that Jericho is going to retain, and I think we're going to have Hook versus Jericho one-on-one some point in the future. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I completely agree. Um, yeah, like we've already touched on, hope it's on the pre-show. Um, pretty predictable. And I hope it is predictable. I don't need another crazy, but it'll still be fun. Shibata's a great wrestler, and hopefully they can do something with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. It won't be the fucking match of the night, most likely, but it'll be good. Hook is really good, so I'm sure he can make something out of it. Not that the other two aren't, but you know what I mean. Like he's always memorable.
Yes. Um, Also on the card that I'm looking at, it says Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy, but I don't think that's been announced.
Oh,
Has that been
I was
announced
actually
since?
before this when I was looking up the card, I saw that too,
Okay.
and it's just a straight up match.
Um, that's a bit weird because, like you say, we just had that last match, which I felt like was kind of the blowout, not the full blowout of the feud in general, but like, you know, a little bit of just a
Like a
pause, and then we're just going to keep it stewing in the background while he does the Callis stuff. But maybe this is where he's fully going to join the Callis family. Maybe we're going to see not quite a double turn, but Orange go more heel than Beretta expects.
yeah, I
Because that's the only way I can see match working. Because otherwise it's just pointless. It's just like doing the same thing again.
I know, but I sort of think they might kind of go down the route of maybe Trent wins,
And
maybe
it just crushes Aldridge's psyche even more.
well, maybe that like Don Callis maybe he got distracted or something like that because we don't want Orange to look weak if he loses. But then I can just I don't know why I've just got this gut feeling that like Don is gonna try and win him over, and then Orange is gonna be like maybe like teasing that he's gonna do it, and then he's like, no, fuck you, and beats him up or something just to go all in on everyone being like, oh, we love you, Orange. Not saying that's what I want to happen, but I can just see it. I can just see it happening.
I'm just gonna predict what I want, which is that Orange Cassidy wins.
Hmm.
And it's quite a violent victory. I think maybe there is some Callis family interference. Um, and I think it sets them both on a darker path because then I think Beretta is going to be infuriated by it. The fact that he's beat him unfairly, even though he shouldn't because he's a heel, but it kind of just feeds into his self-righteousness. And Cassidy wins and transitions over to the Callis family because I think it's time. I think it's time to make that move now.
To make a bit fresh, freshly
Yeah,
squeezed,
I
you
mean,
might say.
freshly squeezed. Yes, I'm just going to predict what I want there. I'm going to manifest it into reality.
Fair enough. I hope
Next
so
up,
too.
yeah. Well, you're going with your head, not your heart.
Actually, it's more like my
What
gut.
does your inner child want?
Uh, my inner child
Is
when
a
I was
is
watching
a
wrestling
mark.
was like cried when CM Punk turned heel because I thought it was real. So, my inner child would want Orange Cassidy to still be a good guy and say no to Don.
Bears.
So,
Right. Next up, we've got Moxley versus Takeshita. Again, I'm just gonna go with my heart. I'm just gonna go with what I want. I want Takeshita to win. I think he needs it. I
yeah, but
think he needs it more than Mox.
it's not for the title though, is it? It's an eliminator
It
match.
is. Oh, it's a eliminator match. Yeah, it's a eliminator match.
So, which I hate, by the way. I'm just like, well, if you can beat the champion, just why would you not just be the champion? I don't know, but I think Takesha's gonna win as well.
Yeah, or like if they're gonna do an eliminator, do it on like Dynamite. Don't do it on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand
Like
it.
pay-per-view should be belts. Pay-per-view should be. It's called Double or Nothing for fuck's sake.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
about stakes. This bloody pay-per-view.
Hmm.
I'm not seeing a lot of stakes, but
I
yeah.
wonder if
Then I
Takesha might
definitely
win.
think Takeshita.
Yeah, I wonder if he might win with some shenanigans, maybe.
I hope not. I hope he just wins cleanly and just. He's such a great wrestler.
Hmm.
Moxley's such a great wrestler. Takeshita's great and he's so underrated. I hope they give it a bit of time and yeah, I hope it's just a great match.
Yeah, same.
And he wins, especially now I know it's an eliminator, 100%. Uh, then we've got the TNT Championship, the barbed wire steel cage match, Copeland versus Malachi Black. It's got to be Copeland.
Oh, I thought maybe Malachi, because then maybe that'll be like the final moment where Copeland's like,
You don't think him covering him in blood is the final moment?
yeah, but I feel like he might join the House of Black though.
It's more like they join Copeland. Like Copeland is the new leader of the House of Black. He's not only he's like exceeded at like Malachi's expectations almost. He's overshadowed. He thought he was just creating a protege, but then he's like he's even his dark side's even more. He's more emo than he could ever think to be.
I loves
He's
that.
like
That's
first
yeah,
gen.
that's a great idea. I love that. That's a different way to look at it. It depends. Yeah, it depends
And he
what like.
spins the House of Black fresh as well,
Yeah, it depends what way
rather than just like
you
you're
look at
saying
it.
like all guys that are all the same.
But then the only thing that makes me feel like it's more like him joining the House of Black is just the promos and stuff that Malachi has been cutting, and also that Adam's been cutting as well, and it just kind of feels like they're bringing out his dark side and they're pulling him in. I don't know.
Yeah, but then like they don't know what they're pulling in. Like in that thing when he was like get ready. Like they don't know. Like they don't know what they're messing with, bro. And then as well,
Yeah.
I think it can write off because then later on you get a bit of tension with Malachi because he's actually like, oh, I don't like how, he's the top daddy of darkness.
Yeah.
And then that splits him off, and then he can fuck off with Christian. It's got some good exit plans that
I love that idea.
I don't know.
Love that.
Yeah.
But I'll stick with my gut instinct, which is usually right. But
We've got
Malachi and
totally
Chris.
different. We've got totally different predictions. Probably I'm just going haywire today. I'm just saying what I want. The dictator mode.
Yeah.
Um. Then we've got Willow versus Mercedes Monet for the TBS Championship match. We have spoken at length, probably about
Mm.
if there's any match we've spoken the most about is this match. And I'm just gonna say what I want, which is not what I think. I want Willow to win, and I want a Mercedes heel turn.
And that would be so much more intriguing. Like Monet can't deal with the fact that she's lost and she can't believe it. That would be better, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I
And
think
then I
Monet's
think
gonna
as
win.
well, the heel turn as well, we do it in a reconciliation. Because all this is built up upon, like, are they or aren't they? And at the end, she goes in for the handshake. Mercedes baits with the handshake, then just annihilates her.
Mm. Yeah, that would
And
be better.
you can still do the heel turn with Monet winning. But I always prefer it when it's like,
It's like justified
not
sort of.
just heel from like I'm better than you, like heel because like I know I'm fucking better than you and you shouldn't have beat me.
Hmm.
That's more like I don't know. It's just more my jam.
It is. It's more. It's like it's just more intriguing. It's a better, bit more in-depth story, but I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna have Monet win and then be like celebrating, and it's gonna be like, oh my God, can't believe she did
Yeah,
it. And it's gonna be
yeah.
like, hmm.
Props, props to that. And then we have the women's championship match: Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb. Tony Storm a lock-in win.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, not even close.
No, not. But hopefully she gets like a good showing in the match. And she makes the most of her minutes because it's what she wanted. It's a dream to have this match. So on a personal level, I hope it goes well for her.
Yeah.
It's never too late until it's too late. You can still win a crowd round.
Yeah, true, true. Good surprises.
So, but probably not. It'll probably be shit. So anyway, after that, we've got Swerve versus Christian Cage. Swerve's winning.
100%, I agree.
It's for also I've disclosed for the world title.
So, and he's only just won it, and yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to be a great match. Like I say, I can't wait for all the interferences, which normally it's like all interferences, but it's going to be great. Nana's back as well on the scene, so we'll
Love
have
him.
him.
My spirit animal.
Love him. And could we have some Adam Page?
Oh my God, don't get
Could we
my
have some
hopes
Adam
up.
Page? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even believe it myself saying that, but he's coming. He's coming at some point.
He's gotta come at some point.
So I don't know. I guess it depends whether they're wrapping that Christian Swerve thing up. I guess it depends. We'll see how neatly it all
Mm,
sort of ends. But yeah, hi, looking forward to that. And yeah, we both agree on Swerve.
yeah.
And then the final match, although the final match will probably be the title match. I'll be interested to see where they put this in the card because this match will be the most high energy of the night. So I wonder where they'll want to. I'll put it in first because I feel like this is one of my
It
most
could
looked
be.
forward to ones.
Could be.
It could be, but I don't know.
Set it off on a high.
Yeah, but that's my most anticipated. I suppose you've also got the violence of the barbed wire steel cage match. Uh, as well. So that's like probably your other high point, I can imagine. Because as
Yeah.
well, I forgot to really touch on that when we were talking about it. The whole point of the story is who can bring out the dark side the most. And I'm really glad that they've gone with a barbed wire steel cage match, because what better match than
Gosh,
to display that? And they're gonna bleed.
I can't wait. I never thought I'd say that about a fucking barbed wire match, but I have developed. My character development,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
I'm
Clean
looking
cut
forward to
baby face to death match,
it. Yeah.
you know, anti-hero vibes. Um, think the Elite are gonna get the victory just because they're on the high at the minute. They are the faction.
I agree.
I think it's gonna be a cracker of a match. I think, it's gonna be great. The wrestlers in there. Darby's probably gonna kill himself. FTR, don't count FTR out because
Mm,
they fuck up that type of match. Danielson's a sick bastard as well.
true.
So,
Yeah.
Team AW, you think, oh, lovable little
Wrestlers.
cuddly sweethearts. No, no.
Excuse me. Brian Danielson is a cuddly little sweetheart.
He said he wants to die bleeding out in the ring.
Yeah. And
True, true. But yeah, I really can't wait. I wonder how Okada's gonna fare in a match like that.
I'm yeah, interested to find out. I mean, yeah, he's so far
I
proven
wonder if
himself
he's
to
gonna get a
be.
bit dirty.
I hope so.
Who's gonna win the Elite?
Yeah, I
For me,
agree.
that's a lock in. But it is gonna be. It's gonna be really good.
Be
It's
a
gonna be
banger.
really good. It's gonna be a banger. I don't know. I was gonna say, do you think there'll be like any interference with that? Like it's no DQ.
Mm,
Anyone?
Probably not, to be honest. I know I was the one who mentioned it before, but actually considering that there's so many men already involved, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a real like just run down that card. Really looking forward to it, especially when you start running down it and predicting it.
I
You're like,
think
oh, there is actually quite a lot of
isn't
great
there
matches there.
isn't there a couple of matches we haven't even mentioned as well? What about the the trios match as well?
Oh shit, yeah. The trios match.
Yeah, Death Triangle
Uh
versus Bullet Club Gold.
oh, Bang Bang Gang are winning.
Yeah,
But
I
it's going to
agree.
be a great match. I think that will be, unfortunately, a pre-show affair. Um,
Probably. Considering it's
and
only
and
just been put together as well.
Pac and Jay White are a great pairing, so I hope that they put a bit of heavy focus on that. And in the future, when Jay White does do his own solo thing, Pac can kind of come back for vengeance over this,
Mm, yeah,
because I've
yeah.
really enjoyed their sort of sparring. And Jay White is a sick bastard, but he's very cowardly.
So true.
Whereas Pac is just a sick bastard. So
Yeah.
they're just a great little pairing. I'd love to see him do some solo stuff. But I'm very excited. Love Penta. Love the guns. It's just gonna be high fly. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, just like the Go Home show, a lot of chaotic, violent. That's kind of what I'm expecting on Sunday. Chaos and violence
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
just
me too.
dis.
There's also the international championship match as well. Osprey versus Roderick Strong. I don't think we've mentioned that, have we?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just reading off a card. I've my memory's shot. Yeah, fuck, there is. Do you know what? I don't actually know with that one. What do you think?
I think
I think
that
that's a bit of a paradox,
Osprey's
that one.
I think that Osprey's gonna win.
Yeah, but then that totally weakens Roddy, and I feel like they kind of want to keep the Undisputed Kingdom on a bit of a back burner. And Osprey, do you really want to tie him to a middle title?
Yeah, but then do you really want him to lose on a pay-per-view?
No, but maybe because he's kind of straying away from the Callis family anyway, maybe this is when Cassidy just fully replaces him. That's kind
Mm,
of what happens. And they just kind of, Don Callis kind of lays him out with the Callis family and they just go, we don't have any need for you anymore.
mm.
Um, we don't want you. That's Orange's title, and he's going to reclaim it back, sort of thing.
Oh, that'll be fun. That will
Still
be
a crazy storyline I've just thrown out there, just to protect everyone.
That'll be so fun.
It's not happening. You're right. Ospreay's probably going to win it and be stuck in the mid card. But we need to get him up here for All In, and All In's coming around fast, baby. So I'm like,
true.
Is that where I want him on my card?
Yeah, so true. I can just see them being like, oh, all the momentum that he's got, let's stick the strap on him.
But then what you also risk is if either Ospreay goes down, or I think even worse, the international title just becomes an accessory on Ospreay. It doesn't really mean much, and it loses all the prestige it's built up, which is just as, if not worse.
Yeah,
that title is so prestigious. It's one of, I mean, it's kind of lost a bit of its sheen with Roddy, and that's just because of the lack of the Undisputed Kingdom. But it's still got that prestige, and yeah, I would hate for it to just be, an accessory on the side.
because I can just picture him with that belt, and I can picture how good he would look with it, but then would it? I don't think it adds anything to him. He doesn't need the belt.
No, exactly. So, and he can't really give much to the belt. But yeah, hopefully they kind of spin it off, think of some kind of way out of that situation, because it's a bit of a difficult situation to book themselves into. Not impossible. Nothing's ever impossible to. I don't feel like to. You can always write yourself out of anything. Like, but we'll see. So I feel like there's a lot of predictability, which isn't a bad thing. Like on this card, but yeah, there is still some matches like that where there is room for like intrigue, and it is like, how are they going to do it?
Yes, 100%. And what a stacked card! Just
it really is. I mean, especially now I've just named those two matches. I'm like, Jesus.
I mean, and how many championships? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 championships. That's crazy. And then, you've not got the IWGP heavyweight belt being defended, but you still got the champ and the stakes around that belt on the show.
Yeah.
So huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, so we'll definitely watch it. As to whether we'll get a review up is TBD, but most likely not. But we will definitely be watching the show, and we'll definitely be forcing our opinions on you on Thursday night, if not. So look forward to that. Yeah, let us know your predictions.
Yeah.
And your favourite jobber. That's your homework for this week.
Yeah, let us know your favourite jobber and register to vote if you're in the UK. Yeah. That's the homework.
That's the homework this week. Yeah, that'll do it. We have yapped on for a very long time. So, but great to see you. Great to be back together. We will be back together next week as well. And have a great weekend and enjoy the pay-per-view.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and a rate and a subscribe or whatever else.
Yep.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night.
I wish you died in the womb!